Good evening. I'm Sonika Loganathan, and welcome to Above the Fold. We take a look at the Prime Minister's appeal amid the crisis in West Asia, the continuing suspense over the Congress's chief minister pick in Kerala, political developments in Tamil Nadu, key local election results in the UK, and more. So stay with us for the full report. We begin with the Prime Minister's address to the nation late last evening. He urged people to prepare for economic uncertainty and rising inflation. But what could this mean for the economy and everyday life? We take a closer look.
Last night, Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave the public directives that sounded concerningly similar to what was seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Addressing a public meeting in Hyderabad, Modi told citizens to collectively help the country face challenges posed by global economic uncertainty. He asked the people to reduce the consumption of petroleum by taking public transport or increasing the use of electric vehicles instead. He also suggested increasing work from home arrangements and virtual meetings to reduce unnecessary travel. Worries also loom around India's foreign exchange reserves, which are used to pay for imports and handle currency fluctuations. In a surprising move, Modi told the people to postpone buying gold by a year and to limit foreign travel. He also retaliated the Vocal for Local campaign, asking people to prioritize Indian made products to strengthen the country's economic self reliance.
हमने कोरोना के समय में वर्क फ्रॉम होम की, ऑनलाइन मीटिंग्स की, वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस की, ऐसी अनेक व्यवस्थाएं विकसित की और हमें आदत भी हो गई थी। आज समय की मांग ऐसी है कि उन व्यवस्थाओं को हम फिर से शुरू करें तो वो देश हित में होगा। वर्क फ्रॉम होम, ऑनलाइन कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, वर्चुअल मीटिंग्स, इनको हमें फिर से प्राथमिकता देनी है।
But revisiting COVID era practices have made many concerned about what India's current economic status and just how much worse it is going to get.
To help us understand what Modi's address means in the context of the current economic situation, we're joined by the Hindu's deputy business editor, Kunal Shankar.
Well, if we consider the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's statements at the informal ministers group to examine India's energy supply situation since the American-Israeli war against Iran began on February 28th, he has sort of assured the nation that India is comfortably placed at $703 billion of foreign reserves, which indeed is one of the high points. And he's also said that India has, crude oil reserves of 60 days and retail petrol reserves of about 60 days. While this has been stated, we must remember that in the past few days, the interministerial briefing that has been led by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, senior government officials have been stating that oil marketing companies in India have had a combined under recovery of about 30,000 crore rupees every month, which indeed is unsustainable. All of them did report profits in the past fiscal year, but this year, which sort of began on the 1st of April, they have consistently now have been having under recoveries. If you recall, the government raised the price of premium petrol marginally, but indeed did raise the price of domestic petrol by 63 rupees. Domestic LPG and commercial LPG was raised considerably more. India imports about 80% of its crude oil. Our import bill is determined by the dollar value because crude is pegged to the dollar, and the rupee has depreciated by about 5% just since the war broke out. The rupee generally depreciates against the dollar by between about 2 and 3% for the whole year. In the past 5 years, that's what has been the case. But in this case, just in the past about 2 months, more than double that percentage has been the depreciation of the rupee. So this has indeed affected, to a large extent, impacted India's foreign exchange reserves. It has impacted India's import bills. It has also impacted the raw material, input material for most of what India imports, including fertilizers, including products for things like tires. So the automotive industry has also been impacted. So the impact has been widespread, and it has put inflationary pressure on the economy. And that is why the Prime Minister has sort of urged this austerity measure that he's spoken about. To what extent this might affect the common man? Well, we've already seen it having a bearing on the common man. The question is to what extent the common man can afford to be austere when the pressure is already high on his pocket.
Modi's announcement comes as the war between the US and Iran remains at a standstill. This weekend, Iran sent another ceasefire proposal to the US. It requested an end to the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon, where Israel continued its bombardment. Trump's response? Quote, totally unacceptable. Israeli attacks have killed nearly 500 people since April 16th and continue despite a technically ongoing ceasefire. Israel claims to be targeting the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah, but reports say that many casualties have been civilians. Trump has continued threatening to resume full-scale bombing if Iran does not agree to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and roll back its nuclear program. In other news, the Congress's decision on Kerala's next chief minister remains unresolved. As the delay continues, questions are being raised about the internal dynamics and power struggle within the party. Here's a closer look.
Even after marathon discussions in New Delhi, the Congress High Command is yet to take a final call on Kerala's next chief minister, deepening uncertainty within the party despite the United Democratic Front's electoral victory. At the center of the contest are three senior leaders: former leader of the opposition V.D. Satheeshan, AICC General Secretary K.C. Venugopal, and veteran Congress leader Ramesh Chennithila. Each has emerged as a strong contender for different reasons. Satheeshan has projected himself as the architect of the Congress-led UDF's comeback in Kerala and has argued that his leadership helped revive the party's fortunes in the state. Venugopal, meanwhile, is believed to enjoy strong backing among legislators and within sections of the party organization, while Chennithila has stressed his seniority and long-standing experience within the Congress. The delay appears to stem from the High Command's struggle to balance competing factional interests without alienating any camp. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi held multiple rounds of discussions with the three leaders along with KPCC President Sunny Joseph and other senior functionaries, but no consensus appears to have emerged yet. What has especially upset the High Command is the aggressive public lobbying by rival factions in Kerala. Supporters of the leaders have engaged in poster campaigns, public marches, and social media battles, many of which reportedly crossed the party leadership's limits of discipline and decorum. The Congress leadership has now directed state leaders and workers to tone down public displays of support, warning that any attempt to damage the party's image would not be tolerated. But even as some posters were removed, the factional battle has continued online, reflecting the deep internal divisions that the leadership is now struggling to contain.
What are the main factors behind the delay, and what does this prolonged uncertainty signal about the power dynamics and internal equations within the Congress? We have the Hindu's Kerala resident editor, S. Anandan, to give us more insights.
In the run-up to the elections, AICC had asked sitting MPs not to contest. This was despite several MPs from Kerala wanting to contest the assembly elections. And K.C. Venugopal is also a sitting MP, which has made things extremely difficult for the AICC to take a final call on this. From what we understand, the AICC observers, when they gave their report to the High Command, they did not clearly name one person because opinion was sharply divided among the three. That is what we understand. What has made decision making difficult for the central leadership of the Congress was that there were public rallies taken out by supporters of individual leaders, which were seen as discrediting the other two contenders for the post. There were poster wars, there were memes circulated on social media, which were celebrated by the UDF as well as the BJP and netizens in general. So this has vitiated the entire scene. On top of that, If you recall, back in 2021, soon after the UDF was defeated in the elections for the second consecutive term, Ramesh Chennithala was immediately removed as opposition leader, and he sort of had an unceremonious exit. So this time around, it appears that the Congress leadership doesn't want it to be similar to that situation. It wants to take everyone along. It wants to be accommodative, and it wants all the leaders to accept whatever decision that is finally arrived at. The Congress leadership doesn't want to force its choice upon the party in Kerala, which is why the party has broad-based the decision-making process and is now talking to every leader, past and present. While it is unhappy about the IUML needlessly wading into what is being seen by some as the Congress's internal issue, it cannot completely ignore IUML, which played a critical role in the elections. Team UDF was the mantra during the campaigning phase of the elections, with the UDF leaders putting up a facade of unity, which came crumbling down soon after the polling got over, with the battle for chief ministership coming out in the open. The choice before the High Command is tough. If it is not able to arrive at a consensus, factionalism, which the Congress in Kerala was infamous for in the past, is going to rear its ugly head in new forms in the coming days.
We now shift our focus to Tamil Nadu, as Chief Minister C. Joseph Vijay's first meetup right after taking oath in the Legislative Assembly has triggered intense buzz across the state. Here's our full report.
Tamil Nadu's new political chapter formally began on Monday as Chief Minister C. Joseph Vijay took oath as a member of the 17th Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. Pro Tem Speaker Karupaiah administered the oath to Vijay and his cabinet ministers, including Kirtana, who was sworn in later after initially forgetting to bring her certificate of election. Leader of the opposition Udhayanidhi Stalin and AIADMK chief Edapadi K. Palaniswamy also took oath. But beyond the ceremony, the spotlight quickly shifted to what could be Tamil Nadu's defining political rivalry. Chief Minister Vijay versus opposition leader Udhayanidhi Stalin, two young leaders with cinema backgrounds now leading rival political camps. For Udhayanidhi Stalin, this marks his biggest political challenge yet, leading the DMK in the assembly after defeat while taking on a Vijay government which faces high expectations to deliver on its promise of clean, alternate governance. And yet, just hours after the swearing in, Tamil Nadu witnessed a striking political moment. In his first official visit as Chief Minister, Vijay went to former Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's residence. Udhayanidhi Stalin welcomed Vijay with a hug, while M.K. Stalin received him at the residence. The leaders exchanged shawls and posed for photographs, with Udhayanidhi presenting Vijay a commemorative DMK publication marking the party's 75th anniversary. The meeting drew attention because it came immediately after Vijay accused the previous DMK government of leaving behind massive debt and an empty treasury in his oath-taking speech. Responding sharply, M.K. Stalin defended the DMK government's financial record, saying it had managed multiple crises while continuing welfare schemes and warned the new administration against shifting blame to the previous regime. Vijay later also met MDMK leader Vaiko, PMK leader Anbumani Ramadas, and NTK leader Seeman, capping off a politically significant first day in office that blended rivalry with gestures of outreach and civility.
Now, let's turn to the Hindu Roundup for some of our exclusive content. In an editorial titled No Detours on the Tamil Nadu elections post-poll outcome, the piece argues that the formation of the Tamilnaga Vetri Karagam government under C. Joseph Vijay marks a decisive political shift in Tamil Nadu, achieved through the direct alliance with ideologically aligned parties rather than opportunistic power-sharing arrangements. The piece also criticizes Governor Rajendra Arlekar for insisting on written proof of majority support before inviting the TVK to form the government, arguing that it went against constitutional conventions and the Supreme Court precedent. It further points to the Congress's weak electoral performance and internal divisions, saying that the party's quick shift away from the DMK reflected political opportunism. The editorial concludes that Mr. Vijay must now build on Tamil Nadu's development and social justice legacy shaped by successive Dravidian governments. Tap the card above to watch the editorial on the Hindu Originals YouTube channel. As tensions deepen across West Asia, divisions among Gulf states are becoming harder to ignore. In the latest episode of Worldview, Diplomatic Affairs editor Suhasini Haider looks at the shifting regional equations, the growing friction over oil and security, and what Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Abu Dhabi could mean for India's position in the region.
Over the past few weeks, Prime Minister Modi sent envoys across the fault lines. NSA Doval went to Saudi Arabia, Minister Puri to Qatar, but then we saw External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, NSA Doval, and now Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri all visiting the UAE. Now, of all the countries in the region, Prime Minister Modi is heading to the United Arab Emirates in mid-May, expected May 15th. It is his 8th trip since 2014. In comparison, he's visited Saudi Arabia 3 times, including last year, Qatar twice, Iran once. The visit to the UAE is the first to the region since the war began on February 28th. So again, that is significant. Remember, just 2 days before the war, Modi was in Israel, and while India has been quite restrained in its comments about the war since then, only urging diplomacy and dialogue, both the MEA and Prime Minister Modi quickly condemned the Iranian attacks on the UAE very strongly, and Modi said India stands in solidarity with the UAE.
Up next, a major breakthrough in the murder investigation of West Bengal's Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari's personal aide, Chandranath Rath. 3 suspects have now been arrested by the West Bengal police from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, days after Rath was shot dead at point-blank range in Madhyamgram near Kolkata. Police said that the accused were tracked using a UPI payment made at a toll booth, which helped investigators trace their movement across states. The suspects, identified as Mayank Raj Mishra, Vicky Maurya, and Raj Singh, were detained in Bihar's Buxar and Uttar Pradesh's Balia before being formally arrested. The police have invoked murder, organized crime, criminal conspiracy, and Arms Act charges in the case, and believe more people may have been involved in what they described as a pre-planned assassination carried out by trained killers. The murder on May 6th triggered sharp political reactions in West Bengal, with Adhikari calling it a targeted attack linked to his political rise, while the Trinamool Congress demanded a court-monitored CBI probe into the killing. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing growing pressure within the Labour Party after heavy losses in local and regional elections across the UK, with Nigel Farage's Reform UK party making major gains. Several Labour MPs have now openly questioned Starmer's leadership, with some even calling for a leadership contest. Earlier today, however, a defiant Starmer refused to back down, saying he would prove his critics wrong and face the challenges ahead. Voters have expressed frustration over weak economic growth, the rising cost of living, and the state of public services such as the National Health Service. Starmer has also faced backlash over his appointment of Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to Washington, following scrutiny over Mandelson's links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Despite mounting criticism and growing unrest within the Labour Party, Starmer has insisted that he intends to remain in office and lead the party into the next general election. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts on today's episode in the comments section. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to share it and save Above the Fold playlist so you never miss an update.